Hello and welcome. You're watching India Upfront. I'm Padmaja Joshi. The results of Uttar Pradesh are what everyone is talking about for the last 2 days. What dealt such a huge blow to the BJP's fortunes that from 62 seats in 2019, it has shrunk to almost half at 33 seats. And the Samajwadi Party and Congress have surged ahead this election with 37 and 6 seats each in their kitty. While many spoke of sabotage and voices were raised from within the BJP about investigating the causes of the debacle, in fact, party MPs even said that some forces within the Saffron Party may have wanted it to suffer in order to settle scores. But the question really is it as simple as that? Was there really some internal subterfuge that led to the BJP's talks in their strongest state? Because remember, Uttar Pradesh is one state where they had spoken of the much-touted double-engine ki sarkar. The Prime Minister himself spoke of UP and Yogi Yogi. Then how did the Modi-Yogi Jodi fail so spectacularly? Was it sabotage? Or is there a simpler answer that can be explained by the data that emerges from the election result?
तरीके से पार्टी के साथ विश्वासघात किया ऐसे लोगों ने, और इसकी जांच जो है गहराई से होनी चाहिए। प्रत्येक जिले अनुसार होनी चाहिए कि कौन कौन ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने पार्टी के नेतृत्व के खिलाफ, हमारे पार्टी के कैंडिडेट के खिलाफ अपनी भूमिका निभाई है।
मेरे इन हाथों ने अयोध्या की धरती को राम भक्तों के लहू से लाल लाल होते देखा है। राम भक्तों को मैंने उठाया है, लेकिन क्या दुर्भाग्य है, उसी अयोध्या ने आज समाजवादी पार्टी का संसद भवन बना दिया। तो ये कुल मिलाकर के जो कुछ उत्तर प्रदेश में घटना घटित हुई है चुनाव को लेकर, ये चिंता का विषय भी है।
विपक्षियों ने जो अपने हिसाब से मुद्दे बनाए थे उसको उन लोगों ने कैश कराया। हमको लगता है उस पर बैठ के विचार होगा, देखा जाएगा।
Now, you would have seen pictures of a large number of women, most of them Muslim, turning up at the Congress office in Lucknow with the party's Nyay Patra, demanding that they get the 8,500 rupees promised to them in it. These pictures created quite a buzz on social media, but there is more to those pictures than just UP and that promise. The story of this election is undoubtedly how the entire Muslim vote has decisively consolidated behind the Congress and whatever party it allies with. In UP, it is Samajwadi Party. The only exception to this rule is states like West Bengal, where the stronger party has the capability to defeat the BJP instead of Congress. There, the Muslims have consolidated behind that party, like the TMC. And the biggest message of all, the traditional trope of vote cutter or vote katwa, as it is called, has been discarded by Muslims in this election. In addition to that, Dalits in large numbers have migrated to INDIA as well. In Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party and Congress gained massively in belts with Muslims and Dalits. The traditional votes of Yadavs also were steadfast. But what is most significant is that any party which could have played spoilsport, what is traditionally referred to as vote katwa, are simply not getting the confidence of the Muslim voter anymore. Let's take a look at how some of these parties have fared and how all of their votes instead have gone to the Congress, the Samajwadi Party. Let's start with the AIMIM. Across the country, AIMIM fielded 10 Muslim candidates. Of them, only one has managed to get to the Lok Sabha, which is Asaduddin Owaisi himself. The other party, which fielded a large number of Muslim candidates, in fact, the maximum candidates this time from the Muslim community were fielded by the BSP. 35 Muslims were fielded by the BSP. Not a single one of them could win. In fact, in many places, they were at the third position. Let's take a look at the ISF in West Bengal. It has strong presence in some areas like South 24 Parganas. In West Bengal, ISF fielded 11 Muslim candidates. All of them lost. In some places, they were at the 5th and the 8th position. The entire Muslim vote was behind the Trinamool Congress. In Assam, AIUDF formidable hold over the Muslim vote. But this time around, they fielded 3 Muslim candidates. Every single one of them lost. And Badruddin Ajmal himself, the AIUDF chief, lost by a margin of more than 10 lakh votes. So similarly, in the SC-dominated seats as well across the country, the NDA's share has gone up slightly, but it's INDIA which has got the maximum consolidation behind it. So the question then simply is, what do you make of the results of Uttar Pradesh? Is it really a case of some kind of conspiracy, as some people are suggesting, or it's simply a case of massive consolidation of the Muslim Dalit vote behind the opposition alliance? Joining us on the debate, Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Harshvardhan Tripathi, senior journalist, Sanjay Jha, author, Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist. Shehzad Poonawalla, first question to you. Did people try and sabotage Yogi Adityanath, or did something else happen in UP?
First of all, I am not going to indulge their fantasies by telling them that this was a conspiracy. There are several reasons why one loses an election. We have not lost an election, by the way. We've won the election. The NDA has come to power for the third time. We have made certain losses in certain areas, but we have also gained, whether it's in Odisha, whether it's in Telangana, whether it's in states like Kerala, we've opened our account, whether it's in Uttarakhand, Himachal, where we've swept in other parts also of the country. So therefore, to make that argument is, was there a conspiracy in Karnataka? Now let's come to the consolidation angle, and let me give you two anecdotal points on it, which can be confirmed with facts. The Dhule Lok Sabha in Maharashtra, because this is not a phenomenon restricted just to Uttar Pradesh, it's an all-India phenomenon of cap politics, which I call competitive appeasement politics. In Dhule Lok Sabha, there are 8 assembly segments. In 7 assembly segments, the BJP was leading. The one assembly segment of Malegaon Central, which is 78% Muslim, the Congress party consolidated that vote bank. They won at a huge margin there, and the BJP lost that seat by 3,000 votes. Secondly, Behrampur seat, 52% Muslim. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary does whatever he can for the Muslim community there and everything. You know, he's even got topi and gone to masjid, etc. After that, for the first time in Behrampur's history in the last 5-6 elections, a Muslim candidate was fielded. Usually it used to be Hindu by Congress, Hindu by TMC. First time it was a Muslim put up by the TMC, and he was an outsider, not even a Bengali. The Muslim candidate has won. So what I can sense is that it is not even just for the Congress party, wherever a certain vote bank has felt that they are most strategically aligned to defeat a particular party, they have united, which also the call was done by in Farrukhabad, कि vote jihad karo. So the formula, as far as I can understand, and maybe people like Harshvardhan ji can elaborate more, it was to divide the Hindu society on caste lines, which they did quite shamelessly and brazenly, and to unite a particular vote bank. And I'm saying this without any compunction, because I think it needs to be called out, because these people will wear the biggest langot of secularism and they will endorse all this.
Sanjay Jha.
Good evening, Padmaja. You know, there are 2 points I wish to make. One, I'm going to tell you the speculation that I heard, and this was not just when Arvind Kejriwal said publicly that is the BJP planning to actually fix Yogi Adityanath after the elections are over. This has been talked about for a long time, because politically, I think everyone here is very wired up. There has been a buzz for a while. Of course, this is BJP's internal politics, so maybe Shehzad knows better. But there has been a lot of buzz around the fact that the Modi-Shah combined wanted to keep Yogi Adityanath under check. In UP, where I have a lot of friends and people I know, there was an appreciation, and at least one thing I heard from across the stream, that he's managed to get the law and order right. Whether he did it in the right way or not, there was appreciation of that coming from large sections of the people. Now, here is the point. That end of day, was Yogi Adityanath wanting to keep the BJP in a state of some animated suspension, so you do well but not good enough, which is exactly what you have landed up with. Mr. Modi and Shah are below 270. They are pretty much now in the docks for a long time to come if the government survives, if they make one.
So according to your conspiracy theory, who is cutting who to size? Is Amit Shah cutting Yogi to size, or Yogi is cutting Amit Shah to size?
See, I'll tell you something. Arvind Kejriwal's statement, a lot of people thought was just trying to, put the cat among the pigeons. But I think Shehzad is a seasoned guy, and I think he knows the truth. That was there an internal attempt to try and keep the BJP?
No, you are the one who has friends in Uttar Pradesh, and you are the one who talked about the theory that Arvind Kejriwal said this. So basically, you wanted to keep so-and-so in check. Who is checking who?
Well, obviously, the larger rumor has been that Mr. Adityanath is somebody, because he is obviously a big proponent of the Hindutva politics, which is the BJP's cornerstone. Did a lot of people in the leadership in Delhi at the political level felt that if the BJP were to do remarkably well in this election from UP, would Yogi become a very unavoidable, powerful force that Mr. Modi and Shah could...
One second, this doesn't make any sense.
So by basically staying out of government, you will keep Yogi Adityanath in check. So he will remain chief minister, but he'll be checked. But you will cease to be in government and you will be all powerful.
No. Did you just one second? Let me just one second. Let me just unpack what Sanjay Jha said. And because you make up conspiracy theories as you go, you make all these errors. He just said one second.
I haven't manufactured.
Sir, now you have to hear me out. You just said that if Mr. Yogi Adityanath would have delivered the MPs, it would have made his position very, very strong. So Modi made his position weak in the center by declining or getting less MPs in Uttar Pradesh and going in for a coalition government with Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu. Point one. Does it make any sense? Secondly, till date, they were saying that Yogi ji to pura khatam hai UP mein. He is the most unpopular CM. This is what Akhilesh has been saying. Today, now I have been told, even after the results, whatever has come out in Uttar Pradesh, that Congress is screaming and saying, Samajwadi is screaming and saying, Yogi is the most popular CM in Uttar Pradesh. And therefore, he needs to be cut to size. So thank you, Sanjay Jha, because you are no longer suspended. Now you are official Congress. You let us also know that he is official Congress. So officially Congress has said that our government in Uttar Pradesh is delivering, and he has said this. Thank you very much, Sanjay Jha.
Okay, wait a second. So Neeja Chaudhary, what do you make of this? Okay, very quickly, 30 seconds. I want to bring in Neeja Chaudhary and Harshvardhan Tripathi. 30 seconds, Sanjay Jha.
Very briefly, the speculation is that the UP political party of the BJP would do just good enough unsettle Mr. Shah and Mr. Modi, because if they were to come back with a huge majority, despite doing well, Mr. Adityanath could find himself politically isolated. That's a short summary of what I want to convey.
How does it strengthen Yogi Adityanath to say that on my watch, the entire tally of the BJP became half? You think that's going to be like a shining star on his report
And he's contradicted his statement 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago he said...
I guess that's the nature of conspiracy
2
theories.
minutes ago he said that no, we have reduced the MPs so that to make Yogi look very weak. And now he's saying that Yogi has done it to make Amit Shah look weak.
That's the great thing about theories. You can change them as you go along. But what was your sense, Neeja Chaudhary, when you were traveling? Is there any substance whatsoever, or it's a simple case of different voters have consolidated behind Samajwadi Party and Congress, Muslims, Dalits, Yadavs have come together, and that's it? No conspiracy, only consolidation.
I would say that the new experiment PDA that Akhilesh Yadav tried, which was to go beyond MY, Muslim Yadav, to rope in the non-Yadav OBCs and the Dalits, worked very successfully. That's number one. And Dalits was because of this fear in them that 400 plus might lead to a constitution change and end to reservations for them and end to what they call Baba's Kitab, B.R. Ambedkar's constitution. So Dalit, I saw everywhere, was very, very apprehensive. Muslims, you're absolutely right, came out as one man. Silently, but they came out to vote. And the non-Yadav OBCs, now that is the story. You know, in Eastern UP, BJP people are saying how OBCs, which has been the vote bank of Narendra Modi-led BJP, and he himself calls himself an extremely backward prime minister, they're shifting away. That is something that the BJP has to look at, why that happened. Then, of course, one heard of the Rajputs expressing their apprehension that Yogi Adityanath might be moved by the BJP brass out of Lucknow to Delhi after the Lok Sabha election. So there were signs, and people said Rajputs had sat at home. They didn't vote for the other side, but they did not come out to vote in as large a number as they would have done. And the RSS, you found that the RSS cadre was not as enthusiastic about campaigning for the BJP as it had been in recent election. And Mr. Nadda's statement that we are a mature, self-sufficient party and that's in the middle of election and we don't need any hand-holding was a very significant statement officially made by the president of the BJP. So, all these factors put together have created a certain situation. But my question, and I don't have the answer to this, and of course there was economic distress, people were unhappy, the BJP stuck to about 55 sitting MPs, they didn't change them, all that had the economic issues did resonate with people. So, but my question is this, why is it that the BJP has done so well in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Delhi, virtually peaked, their 2019 level, where the Dalit factor was the same, where the economic distress was the same. Why is it that they have done so well? And Bihar also, where Tejasvi Yadav also went in for the similar experiment of widening MY, but did not do as well as Akhilesh Yadav. He was contained. UP is the only state where the India alliance went beyond 40 seats. Now, you need answers to that. Why has that happened?
Let's try and get from Harshvardhan. If this perfect storm worked in Uttar Pradesh and BJP could be halved, Harshvardhan ji, तो ये बिहार में काम क्यों नहीं किया? फिर से ये बात शुरू हो जाती है कि क्या फिर यूपी में कुछ अलग एक्सपेरिमेंट हो रहा था, कुछ योगी आदित्यनाथ का सैबोटाज फैक्टर था या फिर कास्ट का फैक्टर था?
पद्मजा, सबसे पहले तो ये कि ब्रांड मोदी इंटैक्ट है, हिंदुत्व पूरी तरह से काम कर रहा है, राम मंदिर के नाम पर वोट पड़ रहा है, डेवलपमेंट पॉलिटिक्स वो लोगों को अभी भी अपील कर रही है। ये वजह है कि पैन इंडिया बीजेपी एक जैसा प्रदर्शन करती है, उसका इंपैक्ट होता है जहां वो जिसको कहते हैं ना कि 28 से भी 29 पे पहुंच जाए, मध्य प्रदेश में सारी सीटें जीत ले, दिल्ली पूरी जीत ले, उत्तराखंड जीत ले, हिमाचल जीत ले, बिहार में शानदार परफॉर्मेंस, ओडिशा में पूरी तरह से वो सरकार बनाने जा रही है, लोकसभा में भी जीत जाती है, आंध्र प्रदेश में चंद्रबाबू के साथ होती है, तमिलनाडु में 3 टाइम्स बढ़ जाता है उसका वोट परसेंटेज, केरल में उसका खाता खुलता है,
राम मंदिर है।
अब ये सारी बातें जब आती हैं तो यूपी क्यों? यूपी 10 सालों से भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने अमित शाह की शानदार जिसको कहते हैं ना कास्ट इक्वेशन जिस तरह से साधा था, उसकी वजह से ये यूपी ऐसा हुआ। योगी आदित्यनाथ, नरेंद्र मोदी और अमित शाह की पसंद है, राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ की पसंद है, तय करके उन्हें बनाया गया। 2022 में जब एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरी आई तो खुद नरेंद्र मोदी ने यूपी प्लस योगी उपयोगी नारा दे दिया। तो पहली बात तो ये कि जो कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरीज आती हैं इसमें बहुत दम उस तरह से नहीं है कि कोई योगी को हटाने जा रहा है, लेकिन हाँ ये सच है, इसमें कोई कहीं कहने की बात नहीं है कि अमित शाह और योगी आदित्यनाथ के लोग एक दूसरे को, जिससे कहते हैं ना कि वो एक तय करते हैं कि हमारा नेता नंबर 2 हो जाएगा, हमारा नेता नरेंद्र मोदी के बाद आगे आएगा, ये कंपटीशन दोनों के बीच में चल रहा है और इसका नुकसान कई बार होता है। अब तीसरी बात जो महत्वपूर्ण बात है, 80 की 80 लोकसभा सीट में योगी आदित्यनाथ का कोई से नहीं है। ये जो लोग कह रहे हैं कि 31 सीटें उन्होंने भेज दी, लिस्ट भेजी थी, उसको फाड़ के फेंक दिया अमित शाह ने या क्या कर दिया पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड में, कोई ऐसा मसला नहीं था। यूपी में सारी सीटें तय अभी भी उसी जरिए से हुई हैं, वही लोगों ने की है, लेकिन जिन सीटों पर प्रत्याशी बदलना था वो नहीं बदल पाए, जिन सीटों पर बदले ऐसे प्रत्याशी दिए हैं जो न राजनीति में थे, जो न नेता थे, जिनको किसी कीमत पर जीतना नहीं चाहिए था। लल्लू सिंह जी बहुत बड़े नेता हैं, राम मंदिर आंदोलन के नेता हैं, बहुत पुराने संघ से जुड़े नेता हैं, भाजपा के नेता हैं, लेकिन 2019 में भी पार्टी के भीतर से कहा जा रहा था कि इनको बदल देना चाहिए। 19 में बड़ी मुश्किल से टिकट मिला, अब 24 में किन लोगों ने उनको टिकट दे दिया? नीरज शेखर को बलिया से राज्यसभा 2027 तक है वो, फिर भी क्यों दे दिया? नृपेंद्र मिश्रा के बेटे साकेत मिश्रा श्रावस्ती से क्यों दे दिया? भाई अभी वो विधान परिषद के सदस्य हैं। नीरज त्रिपाठी, केशरीनाथ त्रिपाठी के बेटे इलाहाबाद से क्यों दे दिया टिकट? नीरज त्रिपाठी कभी राजनीति में रहे नहीं, एडिशनल एडवोकेट जनरल है। आपके टिकट का चयन, संगम लाल गुप्ता प्रतापगढ़ में कहा जा रहा था टिकट बदल देना चाहिए था, विनोद सोनकर टिकट बदल देना चाहिए था। जब आप कॉल नहीं ले पाते, और मैं सचमुच ये नहीं समझ पा रहा हूं, अमित शाह जिनको ये सब पता है, एक एक नब्ज पता है, वो ये फैसले क्यों नहीं ले पाए? और सबके बाद पीडीए से ज्यादा, जिसको मैं कहूंगा ठीक है अखिलेश यादव ने बहुत शानदार इस बार कोशिश की कि यादव 5 अपने परिवार के अलावा किसी यादव को उन्होंने नहीं दिया, मुस्लिम को नहीं दिया, लेकिन संविधान खत्म हो जाएगा, आरक्षण खत्म हो जाएगा, ये बहुत गहरे गया और शायद उसका काउंटर करने के लिए जिस संघ की मशीनरी की बात की जाती है वो शायद उस तरह से एक्टिवेट नहीं हो पाई। ऐसा मुझे लगता है जो भाजपा का मूल विचार का कैडर है वो अपमानित हो रहा है। उत्तर प्रदेश में बहुत साफ दिखता है, चाहे वो सामान्य रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी हो, ठेके पट्टे हो, सरकार में प्रभाव हो, रोज के काम हो, थाना कचेरी।
Interesting. So while we are talking about community, caste, conspiracy, there is the issue of the very specific issue of the candidate and specific candidates. Maybe that is why this hasn't translated in other states like Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. But speaking of the Samvidhan khatre mein hai, how did it actually look on the ground? The Dalits, how they moved away. Remember, in 2019, the big story of the election was OBCs, tribals, Dalits. They all got together and voted for the BJP. But this time in Uttar Pradesh, you had the 50.74% vote, Dalit vote, coming down to 42% for the BJP. In comparison, the 23% Dalit vote. This time, imagine Yadavs and Dalits voted together for the Samajwadi Party. From 23.59%, the Dalit vote for SP Plus went up to 43%. Almost double. It doubled. Look at this. BSP, which was the party of the Dalits, their vote came down to single digits. Take a look at how this happened across India. That was the data for Uttar Pradesh. Samajwadi Party and Congress, they doubled their vote share among Dalits. Across India as well, this trend actually continued. The NDA's vote among Dalits, it remained constant. They actually gained, to be fair, across India. Because you also got states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha included over here. But for INDIA, the vote share among Dalits grew by 12.4%. Even among tribals, the vote share for INDIA grew by 38.5%. And that is what I want to come down to. The fact is, Samvidhan Khatre Mein Hai was said by Rahul Gandhi, but it went down to the grassroots Shehzad Poonawalla. And look at how the Dalits have moved away from you, especially in Uttar Pradesh. Look at how the data is different across India and in UP. In India, your Dalit vote share remained constant. In UP, it reduced by 10%.
Padmaja, precisely the point I'm trying to make, that it was not some anti-incumbency against the Modi government. It was not anger against the performance of our government. It was basically a lie that was perpetrated and propagated.
But you couldn't counter it.
I admit that on one hand, because if you would have countered it well, then perhaps the results would not have been the way it is. I'm admitting that they ran with a lie, they propagated a lie which was just not, had no substance in it, and they have got these seats on the basis of a lie. So there's no harm in conceding that. And what was the lie aimed at? The lie was aimed at dividing Hindus and uniting Muslims. That's exactly what they did. So I'm conceding to that, because if you see, out of the 303 seats, we've retained 208 seats. That means we've got a good retention rate of seats. It means that there was no palpable anti-incumbency against the Modi government. Secondly, if you see just 6 lakh votes addition in 33 seats, you would have got the halfway mark. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that there was nothing wrong against the government. This is not a mandate against Modi. It is actually a mandate stolen by us by peddling the most atrocious lies, which they did even in the case of the doctored, edited video of Amit Shah ji, which they brazenly came and defended.
Okay, Sanjay Jha, this wasn't about anti-incumbency. It was Muslim consolidation plus a lie that some people bought into.
Padmaja, let me tell you, Shehzad is entitled to the hubris that it is the opposition that spread lies. But here is the truth. The rubber will have to soon hit the road, because Nitish Kumar has already, according to reports that I have read, has asked for a commitment from Mr. Modi's government on the caste survey on a nationwide basis. Okay. Now, the BJP is the only political party that has appeared extremely awkward to even have a dialogue on it. Now, this is a very old playbook that if you talk caste survey, you're trying to attack Hindutva and you're going back to the same, Mandal, Kamandal politics. So here's the second point. What is the point that Shehzad really needs to answer today? And I would like Shehzad to bite the bullet. Shehzad, can you tell the people who are watching this program that this epicenter of your entire politics for 2024 was the Ram Temple Pran Pratishtha. Why is it that in Ayodhya, the BJP's Lalu Singh has been defeated? You know, Padmaja, this is the elephant in the room. The defeat of the politics of polarization, the defeat of aggressive Hindutva, which Uttar Pradesh, not just in Ayodhya, has broadly rejected.
Okay.
That is now, Sanjay, now let me call this bluff out of the Congress right here. And thank you, Sanjay, for saying what you said. On air, on Padmaja's show, I'm going to show how these people lie. They said that we have been iffy about caste census, right? By the way, this is Amit Shah's statement. Please zoom in. This is Indian Express, Amit Shah's quoted statement. Amit Shah says, BJP is never opposed to it. In fact, we conducted the caste survey in Bihar. But do you know who's opposed to caste census? Padmaja, same Indian Express, it is Trinamool Congress, and by the way, Saugata Roy has given an official statement that we will not accept the India Alliance statement on caste census, and therefore there was never an India Alliance statement on this. Secondly, who has not allowed the caste survey in Karnataka? Who has not done caste survey?
They haven't allowed for the report to be released. DK Shiv Kumar opposed it.
Who?
DK Shiv Kumar.
What did he say? Over my dead body. Who has not proposed caste survey in Himachal? And therefore, now again, I want to tell you people, the audiences, this is the lie Sanjay Jha said. He just said we are against caste census, whereas no statement has been given. We did caste survey in Bihar. His party and alliance has been against it. By the way, who stopped caste census in 1951? Nehru. Who opposed Mandal? Indira Rajiv. Who said, na jaat par na paat par, mohr lagegi haath par? Rajiv. Who after that said that we will not allow the Mandal Commission report to be tabled? Congress party. And today they come and say, when the Prime Minister is from OBC community. When is the last Prime Minister from OBC community?
All right. You know, I think it's safe to say that we were talking about Kamandal, but the politics of Mandal is with us here to stay for good.
No, it is and now with Mandal.
No, and now
Mandal
with Nitish Kumar is with you now. He did the caste census in Bihar.
We were in that government. We were in that government.
Yeah,
we allowed it.
So
therefore, we are not opposed to it.
And you will have to now answer whether you want a nationwide caste survey. But the other thing, look at how the Muslim clusters have voted in Uttar Pradesh. One, you saw the Dalit vote moving. Now look at the Muslim clusters. We saw different seats with 10, 20, 30, 40% Muslim population. The seats with 10% minority vote, the Samajwadi Party gained 17. At whose cost? The BSP. BSP lost 5 of those seats. By the way, like I told you earlier, BSP fielded maximum Muslim candidates in Uttar Pradesh. All of them lost. And Samajwadi Party fielded only 5 candidates, including one in Rampur, who is not even from Rampur. He went from Delhi. Even he won by a margin of more than 1 lakh votes. That's how strong the consolidation was. 10% minority vote, Samajwadi Party gained 17 seats over there. 20% minority vote, again, the Samajwadi Party gains 5 seats, BJP loses 8 seats over there. 30% minority vote, all of them, the Samajwadi Party and Congress, have made gains. Can we please move a little faster through this? 30% minority vote, Samajwadi Party has made a gain of 2 seats. Earlier they had none, again at the cost of the BSP. And finally, with 40% minority vote, the Samajwadi Party has gained 1 seat and the BJP has lost 1, which makes me ask Neerja Chaudhary, has Congress, or more importantly INDIA, hit on the perfect caste formula? You will have now the MY plus D. Muslims fully consolidating, Congress is our party, and the Dalits added.
And plus, not just Muslim, Dalit, and plus, that is what the BJP has to worry about. And even the Dalit and Muslim, after all, the PM also reached out to Pasmanda Muslims. Pasmanda Muslims have been Nitish Kumar's base in Bihar. I think, Shehzad, I would humbly urge you to go deeper than lies winning. जैसे आप कह रहे हैं ना, फुसला के ले गए वोट, इस तरह की बात आ रही है ना, आपके lies चल के ले गए. PM also tried to assure the Dalit community we are never going to change the constitution. Even Baba Sahib Ambedkar, if he was here, would not be able to change it. But that did not cut ties. So there were greater reasons. It wasn't just afwa. There were reasons, there were economic reasons, and the expression of dissatisfaction. And I kept saying during the campaign, it is a very vigorous expression of dissatisfaction, though not akrosh. Asantosh, yes, but akrosh nahi tha. Lekin this crafting of this, I must tell you one thing, Padmaja, before I stop. in Western UP, a group of Jatavs, followers of BSP, said, if Mayawati had fielded a Muslim candidate, we would have shifted to the BJP. The Hinduization of the Dalits has also taken place, as of other Hindus. But what they also said was the following: but we are tired of this Hindu-Muslim all the time.
Okay.
The conflict part of it, perennially, we have to live side by side. So the Hindutva is very different from perennial Hindu-Muslim conflict, which people may have got tired of, and that's why Hindu-Muslim was not an issue this time in the election in Uttar Pradesh. And people said this across the board.
First of all, Neerja ji, I was making a commentary on the politics of the Congress party. You made it out to be a statement as if I was patronizing the voter. I am the last person to indulge in that. I did not say Janta बेवकूफ और राक्षस है जब चुनाव हार जाते हैं. I am not the one who says that every election that the BJP wins is a vote on Hindutva or is a vote on people just going and becoming bloodthirsty against Muslims. Who says that? On a regular basis, it is the India Alliance leaders who say every election from Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, where we swept, at that time the main issues were berozgari and unemployment and mehengai. Who delivered after 18 years in government in Madhya Pradesh? Who delivers in Gujarat? Why is every election Hindutva level? Same Neerja ji, and I'm sorry to say this in this language to you. You will come and analyze on your favorite channels and YouTube channels. Hindutva ka laboratory ban chuka hai Gujarat. Why all Gujarati people are zombies or what? That they're going and voting on some Hindutva issue? And you have made this kind of patronizing assessment of people in Gujarat. You and your ilk have made it about people in Madhya Pradesh. You and your ilk make it about Chhattisgarh. You and your ilk made it about 2014, 17, 19, 22 in Uttar Pradesh. Let me call you out on this. I have not patronized them. And secondly, Neerja ji, if you have the integrity, but if you have the command of your integrity on air, please tell me what is vote jihad? Please tell me, where was these people who are now saying M plus Y plus D, who took away the reservation of the Dalits in IMU? And why wasn't it granted back? Who has given religion-based reservation? Is this the formula of M plus Y plus D? Why don't they tell the D that we have taken your reservation and given it to M? Can they say it? Who was not willing to say in writing that we will not give religion-based reservation and not cut it out of OBC quota, which Mamata Banerjee did, and the High Court came out heavily on that. Calling that out as Hindu-Muslim, madam? I'm sorry to speak to you in this language and tone. I take back the tone, but my anger is justified because you and your ilk have called Gujarat a Hindutva laboratory for 27 years.
Okay, Neerja ji should respond to that.
Look, the Hindu-Muslim of the conflict in Gujarat of the 80s that we saw and covered and saw with our own eyes, that bit, Shehzad, created Hindu-Muslim polarization, and that is why it had been called the laboratory of Hindutva. I say, what you and I will have a discussion, and maybe Padmaja will facilitate that on all the points that you have raised. All I was pointing to you was that this is very complex. Hindutva is very different from, and remember the Prime Minister himself, after the second phase, made it into Hindu-Muslim from Mangal Sutra to whatever.
Okay.
Gujarati people are zombies who are voting for Hindutva election after election. Is that what she said?
It didn't work.
Okay.
It didn't work. All I was making the point, Shehzad, hear me out, just very simple thing. All I was making the point, the Hindus are happy about the Ram temple, but they didn't vote for that reason.
It was never an issue of vote for us.
Have themselves, they are very conscious of their identity. One second, Shehzad. Yes. They are very conscious of their identity, but that does not mean they want Hindu-Muslim conflict to be used for political reasons.
We never made it an issue. Madam Prime Minister spoke to Navika and Sushant and he said it in the very
simple point was that.
Okay, this is not about the Ram temple, if I may. This is not. But this is not about the Ram temple.
The Prime Minister, no less, Amit Shah ji and others have categorically said that Ram is an issue of Astha. If it was a political intention, then the Pran Pratishtha would have been done on a different date. That shows our commitment. You are confirming our commitment that Ram was an issue of Astha, not an issue of politics. Thank you, madam.
Okay, what we are talking about here is simply of the political equations right now and how the votes and the vote strategies are adding up. One final data set I want to show to you from Delhi, where actually the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress came together, lost all 7 seats, but they managed to gain leads in 18 assemblies across the Delhi Lok Sabha. What were those 18 assemblies? You had the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress together getting 77% of the vote in Matia Mahal, 60% in Chandni Chowk, 64% in Balli Maran Assembly of Chandni Chowk, Seelampur, Babarpur, Mustafabad, Simapuri in Northeast Delhi. Then if we take a look at East Delhi, it was Okhla and Jangpura. Finally, I want to ask you, हर्षवर्धन जी, ये एक impenetrable किला लग रहा है. अगर आपके पास 18% मुस्लिम वोट एंड रफली अगर आप कितना 10 से 15% दलित वोट आ जाता है, प्लस आपके पास ओबीसी वोट है ही, यादव वोट एक्सेट्रा जो है, इसको कैसे काउंटर कर सकती है बीजेपी और इज दिस अनअसेलेबल नाउ?
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि पद्मजा,
क्योंकि मुस्लिम्स एटलीस्ट हैव डिसाइडेड कि कांग्रेस ही हमारी पार्टी है, नो एएमआईएम, नो आईएसएफ, नथिंग एल्स.
इसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. और जब तक मुस्लिम रीजनल पार्टीज की तरफ जा रहे थे, तब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास थोड़ा रूम था. जब से वो कर्नाटक में सबसे पहले दिखा, जब पीएफआई पे बैन लगने के बाद कांग्रेस पार्टी ने कहा कि हम बजरंग दल पर बैन लगाएंगे, वो सबसे पहला वो दिखा था, जिसको हम लोग भूल जाते हैं और हम उसको सेकुलर पॉलिटिक्स बोलते हैं, उसको हम कम्युनल पॉलिटिक्स नहीं बोलते हैं, जबकि वो भी वही था. उसके बाद तेलंगाना, और जिस तरह से राहुल गांधी लगातार बोलते रहे हिंदुत्व को आईएसआईएस और बोको हरम से कंपेयर किया जाता रहा, जिस तरह से हिंदुत्व को अलग तरीके से दिखाया गया. और फिर से मैं कह रहा हूं, देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी अगर सिर्फ राम मंदिर को पॉलिटिक्स के लिए यूज करती तो 4 राज्यों की उसकी सरकार गिरा दी गई थी. बाबरी ढांचा तो सिर्फ उत्तर प्रदेश में गिरा था. जब मुलायम सिंह यादव ने कार सेवकों पर गोली चला दी थी, तब भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार नहीं बन पाई. 14 साल से वो उत्तर प्रदेश में नहीं थे, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसके बावजूद राम मंदिर उनको बनाना था, उन्होंने बनाया. और फिर मैं कह दूं, अयोध्या में 5 लाख वोट मिले हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी को. जो लोग ये कह रहे हैं कि राम मंदिर पर वोट नहीं बना, राम मंदिर पर वोट पड़ रहा है, आगे भी पड़ेगा. राम मंदिर हिंदुओं को एकजुट कर रहा है. लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी को अपने पुराने
वोट एकजुट हो रहा है, उसको आप काउंटर नहीं कर सकते.
काउंटर नहीं, अपने पुराने फॉर्मूले पर जाना होगा. अगर ये कहीं दिखेगा कि बीएसपी बीजेपी की बी टीम है, जबकि बीएसपी भी तो लड़ रही ना, वो तो अपनी कोशिश करती है. जब उसके 10 सांसद आ जाते हैं, क्या वो बीजेपी को कभी सपोर्ट करती है? नहीं करती है. लेकिन कहा जाता है कि बीएसपी बीजेपी की बी टीम है, जबकि कांग्रेस के साथ वो कई बार जा चुकी है. ठीक है, उत्तर प्रदेश में सरकार बनाई तो बीजेपी ने बीएसपी की सरकार बनाई, बीएसपी ने बीजेपी की सरकार नहीं बनाई. और मुझे लगता है जितना काम नरेंद्र मोदी ने संविधान और बाबा साहब अंबेडकर के लिए किया, उतना तो मायावती ने भी नहीं किया, कांशीराम ने भी नहीं किया. अगर उसके बाद ही जा रहा है तो भाजपा को सोचना पड़े, कहीं जाति उसके नेताओं के मुंह से निकलना वो उनको भारी पड़ रहा है क्या? उनको फिर से और कहीं से भी अगर गलती से भी संघ और भाजपा में डिफरेंसेज की बात होगी, अमित शाह योगी में डिफरेंसेज की बात होगी, उनके अपने जातियों के नेता बड़े होने लगेंगे, तो फिर ये मुश्किल होगी. उसको कोर्स करेक्शन की जरूरत है. वरना मुझे नहीं लगता है कि ये इलेक्शन जहां जा रहा था उससे कोई बहुत अलग गया है. उत्तर प्रदेश गया, उसकी वजह से दूसरी जगहों पर भी वो दिखने लगा.
व्हाट इज द काउंटर एंड हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू बी एबल टू take on this kind of vote consolidation? That's entirely up to the BJP. Our point was to only try and explain this phenomenon of Uttar Pradesh, and it seems quite clear that other than the conspiracy theories, the vote shares that have gone to the opposition alliance make it quite clear what the UP story is. A clear consolidation of Muslims behind the Congress party and its allies, along with the addition of Dalits and, of course, their traditional vote bank. Hope this was helpful. Gentlemen, Neerja Chaudhary, thanks for joining us with your